Before Dracula hit theaters and influenced nearly everything we need to know about horror films, there was Nosferatu. This was made in 1922 in the midst of the German Expressionist era of film, which also birthed the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It's said that this film was an unauthorized rendition of Bram Stoker's Dracula novel, which would be given the green light years later to Universal Studios. Instead of facing legal issues or anything like that, they changed the character's name to Count Orlok instead of Dracula. Well, sure, he doesn't look anything like the Dracula we came to be familiar with, that's for sure. German Expressionism called for a lot of odd and demented visuals, and seeing how sound film didn't exist yet, they had to take full advantage of the visual medium. Nosferatu looks freakish. That's the best way you can put it. He looks too creepy, honestly. The way he moves, stands up, and even just the presence of his weird, twisted figure is enough to creep anybody out. It's scary. Still, like 100 years later, it is scary. All these years later, I think people really have grown a higher appreciation for this movie. Even the look of Nosferatu is something that has been seemingly more attributed in films as a true form or a look we would expect a vampire to have. Hell, I think my first time seeing him was in the SpongeBob episode when they're working overnight and he's flicking the light switch. That was a fun way to be introduced to him. Overall, I think this film provided a real framework for the Universal Dracula to use on its own, which it certainly expanded on, but this old flick serves a purpose in the creepy chronicles of horror history.